Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. So as we've been talking more and more about photo books, I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys, which has been awesome. Thank you all who have been messaging and commenting and engaging with this kind of stuff. It's awesome to be able to focus on this stuff and less of the gear, so I appreciate that. I do get a lot of questions about things like sequencing and pairing photos together and like what I look for and things that I like in the books that I really enjoy. What I kind of wanted to do was talk about those sort of things as choices and how you can kind of try to frame the experience for the viewer in more than just the pictures themselves, but overall how they're going to really experience the book in their hands. I hope this makes sense, just bear with me. For example, the very first photo book I ever bought, this is With a Camera from Mark by Jai Tanju. It is full of just everyday life, black and white, 35mm photography. I mean, it is like a huge influence of me. I think I got this the year it came out in 2007, and at that age, like skating with my friends every day, having my Minolta XGM with me, seeing this, it was like just running parallels. Obviously, some kids out in southern Ohio, it was a little different scene, but it was just like, this was the kind of stuff I loved shooting. And to go with that sort of everyday feel and approach, I love the way that this book is printed because it isn't really printed like your typical like photo book, coffee table book. It has this sort of paperback novel kind of feel and quality to it. I mean, the pages and everything and the paper that it's printed on, it just feels so approachable, and that with the everyday life, candid kind of moments throughout it, the feel of this book just fits the work perfectly. And speaking of Jai, I have to mention Seeing Things Press just put out this Scattered Pictures zine box set full of absolute legends. If you are a skate photographer or just a skateboarder, you would definitely appreciate this. I just love that so many people came together to put together a box set. I love the box that it comes in. I love the way this looks on the shelf. Just super, super cool. Another thing that I really like that exists, if that makes any sense, these are these bi-monthly publications from Setanta Books. I have issues 1 through 6. It's a bi-monthly publication, and every time they do it with a different artist, and just every time they do it, the presentation of everything is so, so good. They have all these fun colors. They have this little like magnet snap closure here, and just all of the work inside is always beautiful, and I love the way it's all put together with this little elastic band around the spine. In the back of the book, it states, "This is a bi-monthly publication in collaboration with Open Doors Gallery that looks to highlight the talents of a broad range of emerging or unpublished photographic artists." Again, I just really love that something like this exists in 2021, almost 2022. Setanta's bi-monthly publications, these are always a lot of fun. And that kind of form factor, you can kind of see, is pretty common. These books are all 3 books that I enjoy for different reasons, and we'll get into that, but they all kind of have this similar kind of form factor, something that just feels like it's easy enough to take around with you, and that to me makes such a big difference in a book. All of these books I have taken with me places over and over, and I've shared them with friends. It's something that I can easily throw in a bag. I can easily sit down with it in my lap. Books this size, these little publications, zines, that sort of thing, that quality, that aspect of being able to just sit down with a book, whether it be like on the couch or while you're traveling, I think that is something to keep in mind when you're deciding how you want to present the work, because I know people love, really big books and really big printing and think the bigger the better, but that to me is a really big trade-off in terms of how the people are actually going to experience the book. I love that these books are things I can pass around and share, and they can go places with me, and they're not locked into one place. Something like Todd Hido books, I have Outskirts and House Hunting here. 2 books that I have because I feel like I should have them, and they're beautiful, and I really appreciate the work. Although these are two books that I very, very rarely ever go through because of just the size of them. With a Todd Hido book compared to something like With a Camera from Mark, a book that, you know, really influenced me a lot, that I took with me places, and, you know, you can see that just the ways that I would sit down with this book and how I would take this book places and do things with it, it limits it to a very different kind of viewing experience, which isn't a bad thing at all. But I'm much less likely to take this book with me when visiting friends or while I'm traveling. Looking through a book like this is more like looking through a big box of prints. I like to be able to be here in my office where it's nice and bright and I can actually have like a table to lay the book down on and, you know, view it properly. It feels like I'm flipping through a box of really nice prints, which is an amazing way to experience these photos because they're printed beautifully, they're massive. It has a totally different feel than sitting down, you know, on the bus or something with, you know, a book like this. It's just two different ways of experiencing photos, and I think that kind of thing goes a long way. So I know it's easy to think, you know, the bigger the better, but just think about that sort of aspect. Books like this, Knit Club by Carolyn Drake, the feel of this book, everything from like the typography and the design of it and the way the book came with this sort of like old, faded, stained kind of cover. Even the way the spine looks, it just has this feel like it's this sort of classic novel. And you know, going through the photos with that sort of feeling in mind, it felt like I was going into this other world as I was looking through the book. And not many books sort of like take me in that sort of way, but this book really grabbed me in a way that most books don't. Two other books that I really enjoy the printing in is Christopher Anderson's Pia and Rabbit Hair by David Billett and Ian Klein. Both of these books here I wanted to share because I love the print quality. Rabbit Hair is this soft cover book that has this sort of almost like craft paper type dust jacket around it, and it just feels like really kind of low profile. But the printing in this book, I mean, the work itself is incredible. This is one of my favorite books. But I think this print quality and this size, this aspect ratio for a book like this, this is one of my favorite sort of feels when it comes to a photo book. Out of all the books, when it comes to just like the feel of the object, I really like the way books like this feel. Pia, again, by Christopher Anderson. The way that this book has this linen wrapped soft cover, it's not rigid, it kind of gives a little bit, it just has a really, really good feel to it. Even with this book, just being able to just hold it like this and it just naturally lays flat in your hand, little tiny details like that, I really, really enjoy that. And Songbook by Alex Soth, I love the way this book feels. He's talked about this book kind of feeling like an album, and it has this really soft, kind of like squishy kind of feel to it. It's really hard to explain. It's not really squishy, it's like puffy. It's just, it feels like a classic photo album. I just love the way this feels, everything they did with the text and the cover. It's great. So all this to say, there is no right or wrong way to go about this. It just comes down to what feels right for you and the work you're actually showing. Like, a photo book is not just something that needs to be presented in a specific way because that's what the professionals do or that's what the industry does. Like, all of these different things are pieces of art in themselves. So you really need to think about how it's going to be viewed, how it's going to be experienced, and just have fun with it and enjoy it, because all of these books I love for different reasons, the same with all the other books I own. That's what makes photo books so fun. You can experience photography in a totally different way than just viewing it as an individual image. So if you don't already consume photo books, definitely do it. It's a great way to not only support photographers, but a great way to experience photography and present it. So if you need a place to buy photo books, check out Baltimore Photo Space. Some of my best friends run that shop, and they're beautiful people. Great book selection. Definitely check them out. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have more videos coming in the next couple of days, so I hope you're all enjoying the end of 2021. I love you guys very much. Before we wrap up, I'm going to go ahead and pay some bills and tell you about a sponsor today, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is the best all-in-one platform to build your own website. No matter what your skill level is, anybody can build a beautiful looking website with Squarespace. With all of their drag and drop templates, it's super easy to use, but if you ever need help with anything, they have 24/7 award-winning customer service. Whether you need to send out an email newsletter, run your online store, or just show off your portfolio, everything is built right into Squarespace's service. If you want to try Squarespace out for yourself, you can do so entirely free at squarespace.com, but when you're ready to get signed up, go to squarespace.com/mattday, and that'll get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.